Find dy dx given that y equals integral from x to pi of sine of 2t dt. Okay, so this is a fundamental theorem of calculus question. And the kind of giveaway is you have a variable here, and then you have what's called a dummy variable here. And so the general approach that I have to these is we're trying to find the derivative of y. That's a terrible arrow, but you get the idea. So what I like to say is g of x is this equation right there. And so y would equal big G, this is the integral, of pi minus big G of x, where big G is the integral of g of x. And so if we take the derivative of both sides, dy dt would be g of pi prime minus, and I'm just going to write g prime of x this time over here. I know, inconsistent notation. It's all right. So pi is just a constant, so g of pi will be a constant, so this will go to 0. While the negative g over here, negative g prime of x, negative big G prime of x, will give us negative g of x times dy dx, derivative of x with respect to x. This is the chain rule. So the derivative of big G will be just g. But by the chain rule, we have to take the derivative of the interior as well. In this case, it's just x. And the derivative of x with respect to x will just be 1. So long story short, we're left with negative g of x. So if this is g of x up here, then dy dx will be sine of 2x. Negative. We need to have the negative in there as well. So we look over here. Yep, right here. This will be the answer. And you might be thinking, well, why do you go through so many steps when you could just take x and plug it in there? Well, one of the reasons is that's how we get the negative sign, by going through this process. Also, if instead of x we had something like x squared, then we would have to multiply by 2x due to the chain rule. And that becomes more obvious when you have something like x squared, x cubed, or whatnot, instead of just x. So here we got dx, derivative of x with respect to x, which just comes out to 1 and is basically ignored. But it's good to keep that in mind and how it exists. So this is the general process whenever I come across a fundamental theorem of calculus question. Hope this helps. See you next time.